Close your eyes. Picture a world where digital codes transform into fortunes and risks mingle with vast rewards. A world where the boundaries of finance are redrawn daily by invisible hands. On a cool November morning in 2023, this world intersected sharply with reality in an unassuming federal courthouse in Seattle, Washington. It was here that the monumental saga of Changpeng Zhao reached a pivotal moment. CZ, as he's famously known in the sprawling crypto universe, was not stepping into this courtroom to dispute the allegations laid against him. Nor was he accompanied by a battalion of lawyers prepared to wage a legal war on his behalf. Instead, he was there to do something far rarer in a world often shrouded in secrecy: to confess. The air inside the courthouse was thick with anticipation, each person present acutely aware of the gravity of the moment. Changpeng Zhao, born in 1977 in Jiangsu, China, had risen from humble beginnings to become the most formidable figure in cryptocurrency. His journey had seen him traverse continents, from the provinces of China to the cold urban landscapes of Canada. In the late 1990s, he was a young, aspiring computer scientist at McGill University in Montreal, driven by a passion for technology and an eye for opportunity. This passion would eventually lead him to Bitcoin, a discovery that ignited a spark in 2013. CZ was so captivated by the potential of this digital currency that he sold his apartment to invest in it. His conviction was unwavering, and soon he would channel this belief into founding Binance in 2017 amidst a burgeoning crypto bull market. Within a mere 6 months, Binance surged to become the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world, a meteoric rise that was as dizzying as it was unprecedented. But with such rapid ascent came intricate challenges. Regulatory bodies across the globe cast a scrutinizing gaze upon this nascent financial empire. Binance, under Zhao's leadership, danced a complex tango with regulators. The creation of Binance US was a strategic maneuver designed to serve American customers while skirting full compliance. Internal communications would later reveal efforts to navigate around stringent regulations. Yet, the allure of expansion and dominance overshadowed these looming concerns. For CZ, the stakes were high. He was playing a game that involved not just currency, but trust, legality, and the very future of digital finance. The courtroom was silent as CZ admitted, one by one, to a series of damning charges. Binance had violated the Bank Secrecy Act, operated as an unlicensed money transmitter, and facilitated transactions for entities that were subject to international sanctions, including terrorist organizations. The confessions came with a monumental price tag. CZ agreed to pay a staggering $4.3 billion penalty, a figure that would go down as the largest financial penalty in the history of the United States Department of Justice to that date. This was not just a penalty, it was a testament to the seismic impact of Binance's actions within the financial landscape. As the courtroom solemnly absorbed the confession, the implications began to unfurl. What did this mean for Binance, a beacon of innovation and disruption within the crypto sphere? What ripple effects would sweep through an industry already rife with volatility? The guilty plea marked a reckoning not just for CZ, but for the broader cryptocurrency ecosystem, prompting a reevaluation of regulatory compliance, ethical business practices, and the human cost were fraught, with billions of dollars and the future of one of the world's most influential crypto exchanges hanging in the balance. On November 21st, 2023, the world witnessed a pivotal moment. In a Seattle courthouse, CZ stood before the judge and the assembled press. His admission of guilt marked a seismic moment in the history of cryptocurrency, signaling not just the fall of a giant, but a potential shift in the regulatory landscape for the entire industry. As CZ agreed to the staggering $4.3 billion penalty, the largest the U.S. Department of Justice had ever levied at that time, the repercussions of his actions echoed far beyond the walls of the courtroom. It was a moment of accountability, a reckoning not just for CZ and Binance, but for an industry long characterized by its resistance to traditional regulatory frameworks. Yet the story of Binance and CZ was far from over. As the dust began to settle, questions remained about the future, not just for Binance as a company, but for CZ as an individual who had profoundly shaped the crypto landscape. What lay ahead would require careful navigation of an evolving regulatory framework, as well as introspection about past choices. The next chapter would delve deeper into these consequences and the paths chosen in their wake. A new era was beginning, and its unfolding would be as complex and challenging as the one that had come before. A new era was beginning, and its unfolding would be as complex and challenging as the one that had come before. This era, however, was marked not by the promise of unchecked growth, but by the inevitable consequences of past decisions. The story of Changpeng Zhao, known to most as CZ, had taken a turn few could have predicted when Binance first launched in July 2017. The rapid ascent of Binance in the cryptosphere was nothing short of meteoric. Within just 6 months of its launch, Binance had become the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world. But with great power came intense scrutiny. As Binance expanded globally, its operations increasingly came under the watchful eyes of regulators around the world. By 2023, the implications of its strategies to evade full compliance were beginning to unravel. The reckoning had been a long time coming. Binance's model of operation had always skirted the edges of regulatory frameworks. This was epitomized by the creation of Binance.US, an attempt to serve American customers without the full weight of regulatory compliance. Internal communications unearthed various strategies adopted by Binance to navigate, or rather, sidestep regulatory obstacles. These tactics were a double-edged sword, allowing Binance to flourish, but also setting the stage for inevitable conflict with authorities. In the months leading up to November 21st, 2023, tensions escalated. The U.S. Department of Justice, in collaboration with financial regulators, conducted an exhaustive investigation into Binance's operations. The violations they uncovered were serious, centered around the Bank Secrecy Act, which mandates financial institutions in the United States to assist government agencies in detecting and preventing money laundering. Binance was found to have facilitated transactions for entities under sanction, flouting these stringent requirements. The charges were severe and carried heavy repercussions. For CZ, the personal stakes were immense. Born in 1977 in Jiangsu, China, and raised in Canada after his family emigrated in the late 1980s, his journey had been one of remarkable transformation. From his days as a computer science student at McGill University in Montreal to discovering Bitcoin in 2013, CZ had always been driven by a relentless pursuit of innovation and success. This drive had led him to sell his apartment for Bitcoin, a decision that marked the beginning of his deep entanglement with the cryptocurrency world. As November 21st approached, the atmosphere around CZ was tense. On that day, in a courthouse in Seattle, the weight of his decisions came crashing down. The courtroom was filled with a mixture of anticipation and solemnity as CZ stepped up to make his confession. It was a moment that crystallized years of controversy and risk-taking into a single point of accountability. Standing before the court, CZ admitted to the violations. His voice was steady, yet there was an undeniable undercurrent of emotion as he acknowledged the grave mistakes under his leadership. The plea deal included a staggering $4.3 billion penalty, a figure that would go down in history as the largest ever imposed by the U.S. Department of Justice at that time. This penalty was not just a financial blow, but a symbolic one, representing the culmination of years of scrutiny and legal maneuvering. The impact of this plea was profound. For Binance, it signaled a critical juncture, forcing a re-evaluation of operational practices and regulatory compliance. For the broader cryptocurrency industry, CZ's guilty plea sent ripples that underscored the necessity of adhering to legal frameworks. It was a clarion call for change, highlighting the precarious balance between innovation and regulation in this nascent field. The ramifications weren't limited to the immediate financial and operational adjustments required of Binance. The broader dialogue around cryptocurrency and regulation was inevitably altered. Observers noted that the scale of the penalty reflected a growing resolve among regulators to bring the crypto industry to heel. Amidst this, there was a palpable shift in market sentiment, with increased volatility as traders and companies alike grappled with the new reality. On a personal level, CZ's journey mirrored the trajectory of Binance. His public persona, often characterized by charisma and a visionary outlook, now had to contend with the shadow of his business decisions. The consequences of these choices extended beyond the courtroom. They penetrated the very fabric of his ambitions and the legacy he aspired to leave within the crypto community. As CZ left the courthouse, the world watched closely, aware that this pivotal moment marked more than just a legal proceeding. It was a turning point that would redefine the future of not only Binance, but also the broader landscape of digital currencies. In the days following the court proceedings, conversations shifted towards introspection and reevaluation within the industry. Questions arose around how companies could balance innovation with regulatory requirements. The Binance case became a touchstone, a cautionary tale for other burgeoning startups and established entities alike. The lessons were clear, yet their implementation would prove challenging. Regulators around the world tightened their grip, focusing on ensuring that cryptocurrency platforms adhered to laws designed to prevent financial crimes. The fall of Binance served as a stark reminder that no organization, no matter how innovative or influential, was immune to the rule of law. For CZ, there was no escaping the introspection that followed. He was forced to confront the duality of his legacy, a pioneer who had significantly shaped the crypto landscape, now also a cautionary figure. The human cost of building Binance was something that could not be measured in dollar amounts alone. It was etched into the paths of countless investors, employees, and users who believed in the promise of a decentralized financial future. As the world turned its gaze towards what lay ahead, CZ and the industry at large were left to navigate a new reality. A reality where the lessons of the past were indelibly printed on the present. The stage was set for the next chapter, where the true test would be whether the industry could adapt and thrive under the weight of regulatory scrutiny. And as the dust began to settle, all eyes were on what would emerge from this profound turning point. This was a moment that many had anticipated with equal parts dread and fascination. The date was November 21st, 2023, and the location was a nondescript courthouse in Seattle, Washington. Within its walls, the air was thick with tension, as Changpeng Zhao, known to the world as CZ, prepared to speak the words that would seal his fate. CZ was not a man accustomed to silence. The founder and CEO of Binance, he had been a towering figure in the cryptocurrency world. His every move closely watched, his words dissected and debated. Yet on this day, his voice was subdued, almost introspective. Before him, an audience of legal experts, journalists, and curious onlookers waited with bated breath, each seeking to understand the man behind the headlines. For CZ, this was a moment of reckoning. He had built Binance from the ground up, transforming it into the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange in a matter of months. Founded in July 2017, Binance had become synonymous with the explosive growth of the crypto industry, a beacon for both investors and regulators. But success had come at a price. As CZ stood before the court, the weight of his decisions bore down on him. He was about to plead guilty to charges that many believed could never touch a man of his stature. Violations of the Bank Secrecy Act, facilitating transactions for sanctioned entities. These were no small matters. Yet CZ had long danced at the edges of regulatory frameworks, his strategies both admired and admonished. His admission was not just a legal formality. It was an acknowledgement of the failures that had paved his empire's way. The world had watched as Binance navigated a complex relationship with regulators, crafting paths that skirted the boundaries of compliance. Creating Binance.us was one such maneuver, a bid to serve American customers while keeping the more stringent oversight at bay. In the courtroom, CZ's voice was steady, but those who knew him sensed the turmoil beneath. He had always been a private individual, his public persona carefully curated. Behind the scenes, however, the man who had discovered Bitcoin in 2013 and sold his apartment to invest was now confronting the consequences of his unyielding ambition. The penalty was unprecedented, $4.3 billion, the largest ever levied by the U.S. Department of Justice at that time. It was a sum that turned heads, a figure that dwarfed previous settlements in the financial sector. For Binance, the implications were vast, threatening to ripple through the cryptocurrency industry in ways yet unimagined. As the courtroom proceedings unfolded, the focus shifted inevitably from the facts of the case to the person at its center. CZ's journey from Jiangsu, China, to Canada, and then onto the global stage, was a testament to both resilience and risk. It was a story that resonated deeply in a world captivated by the promise of crypto. Among the spectators were those who had once worked alongside CZ. They remembered his early days, his tireless drive, and unwavering vision. Yet, as they watched him now, they grappled with the chasm between the man they knew and the figure the world had come to judge. CZ's plea marked a turning point, not just for him, but for an industry at a crossroads. It was a stark reminder of the delicate balance between innovation and regulation, a challenge that would continue to test the boundaries of financial systems worldwide. In the days following the plea, reactions were swift and varied. Investors and analysts alike speculated on the future of Binance, while regulators saw an opportunity to reassess their approach to the burgeoning crypto economy. The markets responded with characteristic volatility, a testament to the uncertainty that now loomed over them. For many, the $4.3 billion penalty was a wake-up call. It underscored the necessity of compliance and the perils of navigating the gray areas of financial law. As conversations shifted to the broader implications of CZ's plea, the cryptocurrency community found itself at an inflection point. Some saw the events as a harbinger of change, a catalyst that could lead to more robust regulatory frameworks. Others feared it might stifle innovation, transforming the landscape they had come to embrace. Yet, amid the debates, one truth remained clear. The world of finance was evolving, and with it, the responsibilities of those who sought its rewards. The days that followed saw an outpouring of commentary, each voice adding to the complex tapestry of opinion surrounding CZ and Binance. Industry leaders weighed in, offering insights grounded in their experiences, while legal experts dissected the case, projecting its ramifications far and wide. For CZ, the months ahead promised both reflection and redemption. His personal journey, marked by moments of triumph and turmoil, was far from over. As he faced the consequences of his actions, he also confronted the opportunity to influence the future of the industry he had helped shape. The courtroom confession had cast a long shadow, yet it also illuminated potential paths forward. For Binance, the challenge was to rebuild trust, to demonstrate a commitment to transparency and compliance that could withstand the scrutiny of regulators worldwide. As we conclude this chapter, the narrative shifts once more. The aftermath of CZ's plea is only the beginning of a broader conversation, one that will explore the human element behind the headlines, what lies ahead for CZ, for Binance, and for the ever-evolving world of cryptocurrency. The story continues, with new chapters yet to be written. The courtroom in Seattle was silent as news of Changpeng Zhao's guilty plea began to ripple through the cryptocurrency world. It was November 22nd, 2023, a day that would be etched into the history of digital finance. Just the day before, CZ's confession had been delivered with an unexpected calm that belied the magnitude of the event. Binance, once the unassailable titan of cryptocurrency exchanges, now faced an uncertain future. The impact of CZ's plea reverberated far beyond the walls of the courthouse. Investors scrambled to assess how this seismic shift would affect their portfolios. The cryptocurrency markets, known for their volatility, shuddered under the weight of newfound uncertainty. Bitcoin's price dipped sharply, and Ethereum followed suit, as traders reacted to the news in real time. In the days following the plea, discussion forums and social media platforms buzzed with speculation. Would Binance be able to recover from this blow? What would happen to the vast ecosystem of projects that relied on Binance's infrastructure? Questions hung heavily in the air, with answers seeming elusive. CZ himself had always been a figure of intrigue in the industry. Born in Jiangsu, China, in 1977, his early life was marked by geopolitical upheaval. His family's emigration to Canada provided him with opportunities that were unavailable in his homeland. At McGill University, he honed his skills in computer science, setting the stage for his future endeavors. A pivotal moment in CZ's life came in 2013 when he discovered Bitcoin. With the kind of boldness that would characterize his career, he sold his apartment to invest in the nascent digital currency. This decision, though risky, proved prescient as Bitcoin's fortune soared over the subsequent years. Following the guilty plea, regulators around the world began to reconsider their approach to cryptocurrencies. The U.S. Department of Justice's $4.3 billion penalty against Binance was a record-breaking sum, emphasizing the seriousness of the infractions. Violations of the Bank Secrecy Act and the facilitation of transactions for sanctioned entities were not taken lightly. Other cryptocurrency exchanges observed the situation closely, aware of the precedent it set. Compliance departments in companies across the globe were suddenly thrust into overdrive, scrutinizing practices and tightening protocols. The era of regulatory leniency had seemingly come to an abrupt end. For Binance, the path forward was fraught with challenges. Internally, the mood was somber as employees grappled with the reality of the situation. The ecosystem that CZ had built was under threat, and the future of Binance US, the American offshoot designed to navigate regulatory requirements, was particularly uncertain. In the wake of the plea, many within the community reflected on the larger implications for the industry. Would the dream of decentralized finance survive this crisis, or would it succumb under the weight of increased scrutiny and regulation? The philosophical divide between the ideals of cryptocurrency pioneers and the pragmatic necessities of compliance loomed larger than ever. Media outlets dissected the situation, analyzing the rise and subsequent fall of Binance. Headlines chronicled its meteoric ascent since 2017, when it became the world's largest exchange within just 6 months. The story of CZ's journey from a young immigrant to a billionaire entrepreneur captivated audiences, adding a deeply human element to the financial narrative. As markets continued to react, CZ maintained a relatively low profile. His public appearances were limited, and statements were carefully crafted to reassure stakeholders. Internally, he focused on navigating the legal and financial repercussions of his confession, seeking paths to stabilize the company he had built. Meanwhile, regulators worldwide took note of the U.S. Department of Justice's actions. In Europe and Asia, governments considered similar measures to ensure compliance within their jurisdictions. The potential for a coordinated international regulatory framework for cryptocurrencies seemed more plausible than ever before. Investors, particularly those who had been early adopters of Binance, found themselves at a crossroads. Some questioned their loyalty to the platform, while others saw the turmoil as a transient challenge in the evolution of digital assets. Ultimately, how users responded would play a crucial role in shaping Binance's destiny. For CZ, the personal toll of the situation was significant. His reputation, meticulously cultivated over years, was now under intense scrutiny. The public persona of an innovator and visionary was juxtaposed with the reality of his legal troubles, creating a complex narrative that was difficult for many to reconcile. The mood within the cryptocurrency community was one of cautious anticipation. As the legal processes continued, there was hope that the conclusion would bring clarity and stability. Yet, the path ahead was anything but certain, and the ramifications of CZ's guilty plea would echo for years to come. In this period of reflection, industry leaders and regulators alike pondered the lessons to be learned. The importance of regulatory compliance and transparent practices became more apparent, underscoring the need for balance between innovation and oversight. The road to rebuilding trust would be long, but the commitment to charting a sustainable path forward was palpable. As the dust began to settle, one thing was clear: the cryptocurrency landscape had irreversibly changed. Binance's future, while uncertain, was set against the backdrop of evolving regulations and heightened expectations. Those within the industry were keenly aware of the stakes, understanding that the decisions made now would shape the future of digital finance. As night fell over Seattle, the city where the confession had taken place, the world continued to watch. The aftermath of CZ's plea was just the beginning of a broader transformation in the cryptocurrency sector. In the next chapter, we will delve deeper into Changpeng Zhao's personal journey and the human cost of building a global empire within the volatile world of cryptocurrency. In the next chapter, we will delve deeper into Changpeng Zhao's personal journey and the human cost of building a global empire within the volatile world of cryptocurrency. But first, we must pause to consider the aftermath of the seismic events that took place in that Seattle courthouse on November 21st, 2023. The fallout from Changpeng Zhao's confession marked a watershed moment not just for Binance, but for the entire cryptocurrency industry. The $4.3 billion penalty, the largest ever levied by the United States Department of Justice at that time, sent shockwaves across global financial markets. For traders and investors around the world, November 21st became a day of reckoning. Many had bet heavily on the continued success of Binance, viewing it as an indomitable force within the market. In cities from Singapore to New York, the news triggered frantic activity on trading floors and online forums alike. The immediate market reaction was volatile, with Bitcoin and other major cryptocurrencies initially plunging before stabilizing. Investors faced hard questions about the sustainability of this digital frontier. The regulatory landscape was also poised for transformation. In Washington, D.C., policymakers and regulators debated whether stricter oversight was needed to prevent future missteps. The case against Binance had exposed vulnerabilities in the system that could no longer be ignored. Across the Atlantic, European regulators likewise reevaluated their approaches. With the European Union's Markets and Crypto Assets Regulation, ECA, already in the pipeline, discussions intensified over its adequacy in addressing the challenges posed by global exchanges like Binance. Within Binance itself, the repercussions were profound. Staff meetings in the days following the plea were tense, as employees sought clarity on the exchange's future. For many, Binance was more than just a company. It was a part of their identity, a symbol of innovation and disruption. Yet now, the path forward seemed uncertain. Internally, there were talks of restructuring and potential leadership changes. Many wondered how the company would pivot in response to increased scrutiny. For Changpeng Zhao, or CZ as he was popularly known, the plea marked the beginning of a new chapter. While he remained a key figure within Binance, his role was expected to shift. The magnitude of his agreement with the Department of Justice had personal implications as well. As the figurehead of Binance, he faced a dual challenge, restoring trust in the brand while redefining his own legacy. Outside the corporate offices, the tech and crypto communities grappled with their own moral reckonings. For years, the ethos of decentralization and resistance to traditional financial systems had driven innovation. But CZ's case was a stark reminder that ideals must be tempered by responsibility. Figures like Vitalik Buterin, the co-founder of Ethereum, and others began speaking more openly about the need for ethical frameworks within the industry. The impact extended beyond public figures to everyday users. Millions who had embraced the promise of financial freedom through cryptocurrencies now questioned the integrity of the platforms they used. The Binance confession became a catalyst for broader discussions on consumer protection and regulatory measures. In the weeks following the plea, Binance took steps to assure users of their commitment to compliance. New policies were rolled out, and partnerships with blockchain analytics firms were strengthened to enhance transparency. Despite these efforts, the shadow of the legal settlement lingered. In Hong Kong, where Binance had a significant presence, local media scrutinized the company's every move, interpreting each action as a response to the U.S. legal proceedings. For cryptocurrency enthusiasts, Binance's predicament served as a cautionary tale. It highlighted the potential pitfalls of rapid growth without sufficient regulatory engagement. The overarching question was clear. Could the industry self-regulate, or would external forces dictate its future? The answer would shape not only Binance's trajectory, but also that of the broader crypto ecosystem. As 2023 drew to a close, the narrative around digital currencies was evolving. In Canada, where CZ had spent his formative years, public interest in cryptocurrencies remained strong. However, there was a palpable shift towards skepticism, urging consumers to be more cautious. Educational initiatives emerged, aimed at demystifying complex topics like blockchain technology and regulatory compliance for the average investor. Universities began offering and courses on fintech ethics, reflecting a burgeoning need to understand the moral dimensions of technology. Globally, the conversation shifted towards sustainability and accountability. The events surrounding Binance prompted a re-evaluation of how the industry could align with broader societal values. Meanwhile, Binance's competitors watched closely. Exchanges like Coinbase and Kraken, operating with a more transparent regulatory approach, sought to capitalize on Binance's challenges. They ramped up marketing efforts, highlighting their commitment to compliance as a competitive advantage. For many businesses within the crypto sector, the stakes had never been higher. The ability to adapt and thrive in this new regulatory environment was crucial for survival. But amidst the turmoil, there was a sense of optimism that the industry could emerge stronger. The discourse had shifted towards building a more secure and equitable digital financial landscape. In the aftermath, a key takeaway emerged: the importance of trust. Trust in platforms, trust in leaders, and trust in the regulatory process. This trust would need to be rebuilt carefully, brick by brick, as the world watched. As the dust began to settle, one thing became clear: the story was far from over. The cryptocurrency world was at a crossroads, its future shaped by the lessons learned from Binance's rise and fall. In the next chapter, we will explore Changpeng Zhao's personal journey, tracing the steps that led him to this pivotal moment. We will uncover the human cost of building a global empire in such an unpredictable realm. His story is not just about business, it's about the relentless pursuit of vision in a world full of risks and rewards. His story is not just about business, it's about the relentless pursuit of vision in a world full of risks and rewards. As we delve into the investigation that led to the downfall of Binance, we encounter a complex web of intrigue, ambition, and the stark realities of regulatory oversight. It all began in the unassuming corridors of financial regulators, where whispers of Binance's activities gradually turned into a crescendo of concern. By 2019, Binance had attracted the attention of authorities across the globe, from Japan to the United States. The exchange's rapid rise and its strategic evasions of regulatory frameworks did not go unnoticed. Behind closed doors, teams of analysts pored over transaction data, unraveling the sophisticated maneuvers that allowed Binance to operate in regulatory gray areas. The United States Department of Justice, alongside the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, began to scrutinize Binance's practices with increasing intensity. They were particularly interested in allegations that the exchange facilitated money laundering and allowed users to bypass trading laws. The key to uncovering the truth lay in Binance's intricate network of transactions and its internal communications. In June 2020, the investigation took a significant turn as whistleblowers from within the company came forward. These insiders provided documents and insights that shed light on the organization's internal policies or lack thereof. Conversations between leadership, including Changpeng Zhao, revealed discussions about circumventing legal requirements. It was these revelations that painted a clearer picture of a company that had grown too fast, too soon, and without adequate safeguards. The information gathered pointed to a deliberate strategy to avoid full compliance with regulatory bodies. This included the setup of shell companies and the strategic location of servers in jurisdictions deemed friendlier to Binance's operations. Investigators meticulously pieced together this puzzle, identifying a consistent pattern of avoidance and obfuscation. By late 2021, the pressure on Binance intensified, and a clearer path to legal action began to form. In early 2022, the Department of Justice issued subpoenas to Binance, demanding records that would either corroborate or refute the mounting allegations. The documents showed transactions crossing borders, involving sanctioned entities and significant sums of money, the very essence of financial regulation violations. Yet the complexity of cryptocurrency currency and blockchain technology presented unique challenges for regulators and investigators alike. Binance's global presence, with offices and employees scattered worldwide, further complicated the enforcement of traditional financial laws. It became apparent that the fight was not just against a single company, but against an entire paradigm shift in how financial transactions could occur. Changpeng Zhao, known for his public persona as a visionary leader, found himself under intense scrutiny. Emails and messages reviewed by investigators painted a different picture. One of a leader aware of the potential legal pitfalls, yet willing to push boundaries in the name of growth. This phase of the investigation laid bare the human element behind corporate strategies and decisions. Despite mounting evidence, Binance continued to operate, even as the regulatory noose tightened. By 2023, the scenario had reached a tipping point. Public pressure grew alongside internal tensions within Binance, as employees and stakeholders realized the gravity of the situation. The company's leadership, including CZ, could no longer dismiss the investigations as mere nuisances. In August 2023, the Department of Justice, fortified with a compelling case, moved to file charges against Binance. This marked a pivotal moment in the investigation, as it transitioned from covert inquiries to public allegations. The charges focused on violations of the Bank Secrecy Act, a cornerstone of financial regulatory law aimed at preventing money laundering and illicit transactions. The act required financial institutions to assist government agencies in detecting and preventing money laundering, a mandate Binance was accused of sidestepping. For Changpeng Zhao, the charges represented a profound shift from his days as an innovative entrepreneur. The narrative had changed, and with it, the demands for accountability became unavoidable. In response, Binance's legal team mounted a defense, arguing that the nature of cryptocurrency necessitated new regulatory approaches. But beneath these legal arguments lay the harsh reality of potential criminal liability. September 2023 saw intense negotiations between Binance's legal representatives and federal prosecutors. The stakes were high, with billions of dollars and the future of a once dominant exchange on the line. As talks progressed, it became clear that a settlement, though costly, might be the only resolution to an increasingly untenable situation. The figure of $4.3 billion emerged as a potential penalty, reflecting both the scale of Binance's operations and the severity of the alleged violations. At the time, it was the largest financial penalty in the history of the U.S. Department of Justice, setting a precedent for the treatment of cryptocurrency exchanges. Throughout this period, CZ's demeanor shifted. Public appearances became rare, and when he did speak, his words carried the weight of a leader grappling with monumental consequences. The man who once epitomized the boundless opportunities of cryptocurrency now faced the sobering limits of regulatory oversight. As the investigation drew to a close, the world watched closely, not just as spectators, but as participants in a grand experiment of financial innovation. The story of Binance was no longer just about profit margins and market dominance. It was a cautionary tale of unchecked ambition and the necessity of adhering to the rule of law. With the ink drying on the settlement agreement, questions lingered about the broader implications for the cryptocurrency industry. Would Binance's fall from grace prompt meaningful regulatory changes, or would it serve as just another chapter in the evolving narrative of digital finance? As the dust settled, one thing was certain: the landscape of cryptocurrency had been irrevocably altered. Changpeng Zhao's journey from visionary founder to embattled executive offered lessons that reached far beyond the confines of Binance itself. In the next chapter, we will explore these lessons in detail, examining the broader impact on the crypto world and the evolving dance between innovation and regulation. The story of Binance may have reached a crucial point, but the narrative of cryptocurrency continues continues to unfold. The echo of footsteps in that Seattle courthouse still reverberates in the minds of those who witnessed Changpeng Zhao's confession. November 21st, 2023 became more than just a date. It was a symbolic turning point in the world of cryptocurrency. The legacy of CZ and Binance remains a complex web of innovation, ambition, and controversy. As we delve deeper into this intricate tapestry, we must examine the long-lasting effects of CZ's actions, both personal and professional, and how they rippled across the global financial landscape. In the early days of Binance, the vision was clear: democratize finance, make it accessible to the masses. Yet the path from that idealistic beginning to the courtroom confession was fraught with choices that ultimately defined its legacy. Changpeng Zhao, or CZ as he's widely known, was born in Jiangsu, China in 1977. From a young age, he was no stranger to change and adaptation, skills that would serve him well in the volatile world of cryptocurrency. His family's move to Canada during his teenage years exposed him to a new world of possibilities. In Montreal, CZ pursued a degree in computer science at McGill University, a choice that set the foundation for his future endeavors. His technical acumen and entrepreneurial spirit propelled him into the tech industry, where he contributed to various projects before discovering Bitcoin in 2013. This discovery was pivotal. It came during a time when Bitcoin was just beginning to scrape the edges of mainstream recognition. CZ, driven by a mix of curiosity and conviction, made the bold decision to sell his apartment to invest in this nascent digital currency. It wasn't just investing in Bitcoin, it was placing a bet on the transformative power of blockchain technology. This was more than a financial gamble. It was a commitment to a new vision of financial systems. By 2017, CZ's belief in cryptocurrency's potential led to the creation of Binance. The exchange launched during a crypto bull market and, within 6 months, became the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world. This meteoric rise was fueled by a mix of CZ's strategic foresight, relentless work ethic, and an unwavering belief in the democratization of finance. However, the rapid ascent of Binance did not come without controversy. As Binance grew, so did scrutiny from regulators worldwide. The regulatory landscape for cryptocurrencies was, and remains, a complex and often ambiguous terrain. Binance's strategies to navigate this landscape, including the creation of Binance.us to serve American customers while avoiding full compliance, became focal points of criticism and legal challenges. Internal communications revealed Binance's attempts to evade regulatory oversight, a move that would ultimately contribute to CZ's legal troubles. On November 21st, 2023, in a Seattle courthouse, CZ admitted to violations of the Bank Secrecy Act and agreed to pay a $4.3 billion penalty. This penalty was not merely a financial hit. It marked a historic moment as the largest penalty leveled by the U.S. Department of Justice at the time. Beyond the numbers in courtrooms, the story touches on deeply human elements: the hopes of millions who believed in the ethos of Binance, the employees who toiled behind the scenes, and the communities that sought to benefit from a more democratized financial system. CZ's personal journey, from his humble beginnings in Jiangsu to becoming one of the most influential figures in the global cryptocurrency space, is a reminder of the power and peril of ambition. His public persona, a mix of charisma, optimism, and resilience, often clashed with the reality of the business decisions he had to make. In the wake of the guilty plea, the broader cryptocurrency industry was left to grapple with its implications. Regulatory bodies, invigorated by the outcome, signaled a more rigorous approach to compliance and oversight. Market reactions were swift, with uncertainty clouding the sector as investors and companies questioned what the future held. Yet, the legacy of CZ and Binance is not easily distilled into a simple narrative of rise and fall. It's a complex story that underscores the tensions between innovation and regulation, idealism and realism, individual ambition and collective responsibility. As the dust began to settle, conversations shifted from the courtroom drama to the lessons that could be learned. For the cryptocurrency community, CZ's story serves as both a cautionary tale and a beacon of possibility. It highlights the importance of regulatory compliance, ethical decision-making, and the need for a balanced approach to innovation that considers both the opportunities and risks involved. In reflecting on CZ's legacy, one cannot ignore the personal cost of building Binance, the sleepless nights, the relentless pressure, and the weight of decisions that affected millions. His journey is a testament to the human dimension of leadership, where successes and failures are intertwined with personal sacrifice and public scrutiny. As we ponder over the impact of CZ's actions, we are reminded of the broader question that looms over the cryptocurrency industry. How can innovation be harnessed for the greater good while ensuring accountability and ethical governance? The legacy of CZ and Binance is still being written, its chapters unfolding in boardrooms, legislative halls, and among the countless individuals who continue to believe in the transformative potential of cryptocurrency. In the next chapter, we will explore the evolving landscape of regulatory frameworks post-Binance, examining how global authorities are reimagining their approaches in a world forever changed by one man's confession. Join us as we continue to unravel this intricate story, seeking clarity and understanding in the wake of a $4.3 billion confession. In the quiet corridors of the Seattle courthouse, a chapter in the story of cryptocurrency came to a close. On that November morning, Changpeng Zhao faced the truth of his ambitious creation and the weight of the choices made along its path. It was a moment that underscored the delicate balance between innovation and responsibility, a reminder of how quickly the landscape can shift. The tale of Binance is one of remarkable ascent. From its modest beginnings to reigning as the world's largest crypto exchange, its journey was nothing short of extraordinary. Yet, as with all stories of rapid growth, there were cracks beneath the shiny facade. These were the cracks of regulatory evasion and ethical missteps that demanded reckoning. CZ's courtroom confession was not just a legal admission, it was a mirror reflecting wider truths about the digital age. Trust, once a simple exchange between individuals, has become a complex web of codes and protocols. Money, transformed into digital assets, moves with unparalleled speed and scale. Yet behind these innovations lie age-old human themes: the allure of power, the chase for wealth, and the moral choices that define our legacies. The $4.3 billion penalty stands as a stark testament to the costs of neglecting these responsibilities. It is a reminder that in the realm of finance, even the most avant-garde ideas must respect the frameworks designed to safeguard society. The consequences of failing to do so reverberate far beyond the walls of any one company, resonating through the lives of ordinary people. As the crypto industry marches forward, it carries with it the lessons from CZ's saga. The importance of regulatory compliance is no longer a question of choice but necessity. Ethical decision-making, once an afterthought in the rush to innovate, now stands at the forefront of sustainable growth. These are the foundations upon which trust is built and maintained. In reflecting on Changpeng Zhao's journey, we are reminded of our shared humanity, the dreams that inspire us, the drive that propels us forward, and the choices that define us. As we rest tonight, let us consider these echoes of ambition and caution, of innovation and integrity. May you find peace in the quiet moments, and let the lessons of today guide your dreams. Sleep well, dear listener.